What's up, y'all? It's your man, Dead Dude, bringing you guys another video. My channel is now over 150 subscribers, which may not seem like a lot, but it's a lot to me. So I just want to thank you guys for the support. And yeah, if you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed, please consider hitting that button. And while you're down there, hit that thumbs up and leave a comment. I respond to just about everything. So the Panthers, unfortunately, failed to beat the Browns in week 1. And if you watch my breakdown video, you know that I predicted the Panthers to lose. And even though I thought they would lose, they still somehow managed to play better and worse than I thought they would. The first half or 3/4 of this game for the Panthers was just horrible football. The Panthers offense was anemic. The defense couldn't stop the run to save their lives, just getting gashed by Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb over and over again. It was hard to watch. The offense, Baker Mayfield was missing throws, was getting antsy in the pocket. There were times where the pocket was clean and he was running himself into pressure, just getting antsy in clean pockets sometimes. The interception he threw was just a bad ball. All around, the team did not play well, but they somehow managed to rally in the fourth quarter and take the lead, which I think does inspire a little bit of confidence in his coaching staff because it shows, at least for Ben McAdoo, that he can make adjustments in the second half of a game that lead to more success for the team, which is something we haven't seen in previous years. So that inspires a little bit of confidence, but the way this team played for the majority of this game does not inspire confidence at all because the team just played bad. They didn't seem prepared at all in the first half, and watching your team just get ran on over and over again doesn't feel good. And I assume it feels even worse for the actual team on the field. That defense, it couldn't have felt good to have Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb just gashing you for 8, 9, 10 yards at a time. Kareem Hunt had that 24-yard touchdown run. And I believe Nick Chubb had a couple of runs that went for like 15 plus yards. They were just over and over again, just gashing the defense. And I don't see that changing in the near future, unfortunately. But just focusing on this game, where the Panthers were getting gashed, where there were some runs up the middle, but it was largely the running backs, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, getting to the edge and getting one-on-one situations with the corners and safeties, which is not a matchup you ever want for your defense, for your corners or safeties that have to make tackles in the open field on Kareem Hunt or Nick Chubb. But that goes to your defensive ends not being able to keep contained. You know, Brian Burns, for as good as he is as a pass rusher, he is not good at holding the point of attack in the run game. He's great on the weak side in the run game. He can chase you down from behind and get a tackle if you're running away from him. But if you run directly at Brian Burns, he has shown that he tends to get pushed off the ball. He has trouble holding the point of attack. And that was shown over and over again in this game. I saw plenty of times where the ball carrier was 8, 9 yards down the field and Brian Burns was jumping in on the tackle when the run was going to his side because he was getting pushed off the ball and he was not being able to set the edge, which allowed the running back to get to the edge and get those one-on-one situations with safeties and corners, which is, again, not what you want. But it's not every week that the Panthers are going to face a tandem that is as good as Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. So I don't want to worry about it too much, but the run defense has been a problem going back to last season. So maybe it's something that we should be, alarmed about. But again, only week 1, you don't want to make too big of assumptions about what this team is going to be this season based off just this week. I mean, we saw last year where the Packers got blown out by the Saints in week 1, where a lot of good teams lose in week 1. It's not something that I want to harp on too much. Or going to Baker Mayfield. Nothing that Baker did in this game changes how I feel about Baker Mayfield. He played really bad for most of the game, but he showed where he can make some throws and he can do some things that are positive for your offense. He proved that, he's Baker Mayfield. It was the Baker Mayfield experience. He was bad, but he was also good. Again, in that first half, I thought he ran himself into pressure sometimes. There were times where the pocket was clean, but I don't know if he was anticipating that he was going to get hit. And he just got happy feet in the pocket, got a little antsy, and ran himself into pressure. Those big throws that he made, you got to give him credit for making the throws. But again, those receivers were wide open. Ian Thomas, when he hit him for, I want to say, 50 or so yards, was wide open. Robbie Anderson, that was a blown coverage. He was wide open. And it's kind of hard to give a quarterback too much credit or, a lot of credit for hitting a receiver that is wide open. Like, you guys know how I feel about Sam Darnold. I think he is an all-around just bad quarterback. Sam Darnold could have made those throws because the receivers were just wide open. So Baker Mayfield being able to hit a wide open receiver doesn't change how I feel about Baker Mayfield. It just shows that he is a capable NFL quarterback, which is all that I've said he is. So this game didn't make me feel worse about him. It did make me feel better about him because I don't think he's a franchise quarterback, and nothing in this game, proved that wrong or, really proved that right. It just, he was there. He did some things, but he also did some bad things. The offensive line, Ikem Ekwonu struggled against Myles Garrett, but as I said in my breakdown video for this game, it's Myles Garrett, man. Like, most left tackles are going to struggle against Myles Garrett, and Ekwonu was making his first NFL start. He's a rookie. Going against Myles Garrett in your first real NFL game, that's some real trial by fire stuff right there, man. It's just hard to like harp on him or like, say he played badly or say that he's not going to be great because he struggled against Myles Garrett in his first NFL game. What is more alarming is that Taylor Moton really kind of struggled against Jadeveon Clowney. Now, again, that's just Jadeveon Clowney. He's a really good defensive end, but we expect Taylor Moton to be the one guaranteed bright spot on this offensive line. And he struggled in this game. Now, hopefully that's just this game. That's just, he played against Clowney, who again is really good. And for the rest of the season, he'll be a solid right tackle. But we kind of need him to be the one guy we can count on week in and week out to be great. And he didn't do it in this game. The Panthers offense all around was just bad for most of the game. Christian McCaffrey only got 14 touches. But what do you want from the coaching staff? Do you want them to give McCaffrey the ball a lot, or do you want them to be conservative with McCaffrey to preserve his health? I'm of the mind that if he's on the field, you use him as much as you need to win the game. If he gets hurt, that's just how the cookie crumbles. Like, you hate for players to get hurt, but it's hard to game plan around trying to keep a player fresh and trying to not overuse them because he is the best player on this offense. You kind of got to give him the ball. But when the Panthers did run the ball, they weren't getting that much success. So the few times that McCaffrey was able to break out, were kind of broken plays, especially that play where Baker Mayfield fumbled the snap, or was a bad snap. I forget which one exactly how it happened, but McCaffrey picked up the ball and ran for like 20 yards. Like, that's something that isn't repeatable because it came off of a broken play. But when the Panthers are doing deliberate runs, McCaffrey wasn't getting a lot of open space. Now, that may come down to the offensive line not giving him that space. We all know how good McCaffrey is. If you give him a little bit of space, he can make something happen. He wasn't really being given that space. So it's hard for me to critique Ben McAdoo for not running the ball more. But also, you're going against Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney. So it's kind of pick your poison. You're running the ball, but you're not getting a lot of yards. So you drop back the pass. But when you drop back the pass, you open yourself up to your quarterback getting pressured by Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney. It's kind of, damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of situation. And that's just a dilemma that the Browns give you because their run defense is pretty good. And they have two premier defensive ends on the edge. They kind of push you in a bind when you don't have a great offensive line yourself, which the Panthers don't. Their offensive line should be better than it was last year, but it's not great. So this game, if you're a Panthers fan, just doesn't leave you feeling good. I do think our corners played decently. I think Dante Jackson, for as much hate as he gets on Twitter, the guy played, I thought, a really decent game. He was there on Donovan Peoples-Jones a lot. His coverage was tight, but sometimes the receiver just makes a great catch. And Peoples-Jones made some great catches. I thought Amari Cooper would have a great game, but, if it weren't for some J.C. Horn holding calls or pass interference calls, Amari Cooper probably would have had a few more passes and had some more yards. But he didn't. Peoples-Jones was the best receiver for the Browns on that day, even though Dante Jackson was in his back pocket for a lot of those passes. It's just that Peoples-Jones made great catches. J.C. Horn, going back to his college days, we knew that J.C. Horn struggles with holding on to receivers. He gets a little handsy. We've known that since college. He showed it in this game going against Amari Cooper. But I don't want to worry about it too much because Amari Cooper's one of the better receivers in the league. When he's healthy, he's probably a top 10 receiver, and he's one of the better route runners in the league, probably a top 5 route runner. So the fact that J.C. Horn was having to grab on to Amari Cooper and, was getting beat sometimes off the line, I mean, it's J.C. Horn making, I want to say, his 4th start in the NFL going against Amari Cooper. You don't want to project too much as far as how he's going to play going forward because he's not going to face a receiver every week who's as good as Amari Cooper. And as he gets more and more experience, he should get better. We all see the talent in J.C. Horn. We see what he can be. It's okay that he struggled in this game. The linebackers did not play well. I thought Frankie Louvu played decent, but besides Louvu, Shaq Thompson didn't have a good game. Damian Wilson didn't have a good game. as we can see with their inability to, stop the Browns' rushing attack. They were not making tackles. They were not being able to meet the running backs in the holes. They weren't able to go meet the running backs on the edge partly because the defensive ends weren't setting the edge, allowing them to flow to the ball enough. So all around, not a great game for the defense. It was just a really bad showing until the fourth quarter, where the defense made some stops and the offense scored some points. Again, the Panthers somehow managed to play better and worse than I expected. It was just, it's really hard to summarize how to feel about this game, because I thought the Panthers would lose. I thought they would lose in a different manner, though. I thought they would be competitive throughout this game, but they weren't. If the Browns had a better quarterback than Jacoby Brissett, this game would have not been close. If Jacoby Brissett were, better, just a little better, this game probably would have been 35-21 or 35-17, something like that, because Brissett left some points on the field. I want to rest assured about that. If he were better, this would have been a blowout for the Browns. The Panthers would have been embarrassed. But he wasn't. And so the game was close. And the Panthers had a chance to win, but they just couldn't pull it out. Yeah, the calls at the end of the game were bad, but you don't want to give their team the excuse of the refs making bad calls. If they had played better, if they had done the things they needed to do, they would have won this game. So going into next week, there are some things to feel good about, especially the coaches being able to make adjustments for the second half. But as far as how this offense played, they're not, the offense and the defense, going into next week, there aren't a lot of things to make you feel good about their chances to beat the Giants. Now, the Giants are, not a great team, but the Giants beat the Titans this week in week 1, and the Titans were the number 1 seed in the AFC last year. So maybe the Giants are a much improved team, and the Giants were good enough to beat the Panthers last year. So this game doesn't make you feel good, but I don't want to panic too much, given that it's only week 1. Give it a few more games. After maybe 2 or 3 games, we can kind of make some assumptions on what this team is going to be like. But their loss against the Browns in week 1 doesn't leave you feeling good. That's all I have for you in this one, guys. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up. And while you're down there, if you're so inclined, hit that subscribe button and leave a comment. I'll respond to just about everything. And I'll see you guys in the next one.